music on our culture and the diverse musicians behind it, those looking to make their mark in the music world might find their opportunities in a surprising place: the United States Army. What? The United States Army? Yeah, hey, you didn't know this, but the largest employer of musicians in the world is the United States Army. The Army has a rich musical tradition. Army musicians play a very important role at home and abroad. And here to talk with us about what the Army's rich musical tradition and roles are is Staff Sergeant Javier Nero with the U.S. Army Band. He's a trombonist originally from Portland, Oregon. Staff Sergeant, good morning to you.
Hey, how you doing?
Wonderful. Staff Sergeant, thank you first off for your service to our country. And as we celebrate the World Music Day, tell us about how you found your passion for music and how you've been able to pursue that passion while serving in the U.S. Army.
Yeah, so I started playing music back in middle school. My parents had actually forced me to join band. They thought I was a little bit too introverted. But after that point, I really just took to it. I really enjoyed playing music for people and connecting with people and the teamwork aspect of being in a band. I ended up pursuing music professionally. I went to the Juilliard School in New York City, and then I ended up pursuing my master's and my doctoral degree at the University of Miami. Moved back to New York and freelanced for a while. And in the middle of the pandemic, when the market was basically destroyed there for freelance musicians, I said, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity. There's an opening in the U.S. Army Band Pershing Zone, and I think this is the right time for me to pursue that opportunity.
Well, you know, I don't think people understand the role of music in the U.S. Army. Where first off, the U.S. Army soldiers perform, and what kind of music does the U.S. Army Band play?
Yeah, there's actually, as you mentioned in your intro, the U.S. Army is like the biggest employer of musicians in the world. We have 88 bands that are stationed throughout the world and throughout the country, and we play all different types of music. My particular unit, we have a chorus, we have strings, we have a concert band, we have a ceremonial band. I play in the U.S. Army Blues, which is a jazz band, and the unit plays anywhere from political events at the White House, the Capitol building. We play outdoor parks, high schools, middle schools, pretty much anywhere we can find American people. The band is playing, and we're playing all different styles of music.
Well, the jazz band you belong to, what drew you to that group in particular?
Well, I am a jazz musician, so that was obviously number one. Number two is the high level of musicianship that's found in this band. I actually had a few of my colleagues from school and from the music scene in New York and Miami that joined this band a few years before me, and so that definitely piqued my interest. And I said, wow, we have top-notch musicians entering this band, and it's also a great opportunity as a musician, especially when you're coming from freelancing in New York, to actually have health care and a steady paycheck. So those are really huge things for musicians.
I'll tell you, when I was in college, we had a band, one of the college, type bands that would come through town, and they had a former U.S. Army band member that was in their band, and he played trombone just like you do. The band was called Donkey, and some about music just is made peppier and better when you add a sax or a trumpet or a trombone to the rock and roll aspect of it, the jazz aspect of it. Something about that music just is special, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's talk about some surprising things, because you surprised me when you said there were 80 different bands. I mean, when I was doing the research, when I was doing the pre-research for this, I was surprised that the Army's the largest employer of musicians in the world. Then I was surprised when you just said 80 bands make up the different bands that make up the U.S. Army Band. Are there any more surprises people might need to know about being in the Army and music?
Well, just like I said before, yeah, there's 88 bands actually, and one of the things that's great about playing music in the Army is that your primary function is playing music. So I think a lot of times people might have apprehension about joining the Army, thinking that you're going to be sent into combat. But our service to the Army is through our music. And so if you're a musician, you're looking for steady employment and the ability to connect with people and perform regularly, I think this is a great opportunity.
Now, are the bands made up of NCOs and officers together, or are there certain parts that are just officers, other part that are NCO and enlisted members? How's that work? How's the dichotomy of that work?
Yeah, so my unit, the Pershing Zone, we're all NCOs. We come in as specialists. Most people in the unit, I'd say probably all of them have at least a bachelor's or master's degrees. And as an incentive to getting into this elite unit, we're given the rank of E6 Staff Sergeant a few months after we get here. Our officers are typically the leaders of the bands, and obviously the commanders of the unit. So we'll have our commander, Colonel Andrew Esch, conducts the concert band, and we also have some of our other officers that conduct different ensembles. But the NCOs, the enlisted ranks, are the ones that actually fill out the members of the bands.
We're talking with Staff Sergeant Javier Nero. He is a trombonist with the U.S. Army Band. Sergeant, if people listening in our audience can learn more about opportunities in the U.S. Army, where can they go?
Yeah, so the Army has over 200 careers. So if you're interested in music, this is one of them. And then there's also anything from being a driver, being a combat soldier, law, medicine, all different types of things. You can check all of that out at goarmy.com.
Goarmy.com. We've been talking with, Staff Sergeant Javier Nero. Staff Sergeant, thanks so much for your service to the country, and much success to you with your trombone from here on out.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. That's Staff Sergeant Javier Nero. I had no idea there was 88 bands that made up the U.S. Army Band. I didn't either. There we go.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's a lot. I didn't know the largest employer of musicians in the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I knew they had musicians, obviously, but
I thought the Army Band was the Army Band. I didn't know the Army Band was like 88 different bands.
Well, I guess
jazz, concert band, all kind of stuff.
I mean, I guess they'd have to have a lot of them because they do a lot of performances around the world, and that would be one busy band if it was one band, I guess.
One band, I guess, but
You know?
88 bands?
That's a lot of bands.
That's a lot of bands. And how, if you're going to serve in the military and on, there's different facets of what you can do. That'd be a cool gig.
Yeah, that's probably a lot safer than some of their other jobs.
Be a pretty cool gig.
Yeah.
And it's all about morale. That helps morale. And
That's
everything,
exactly right, yeah.
So, I know that there was a movie, Cesar Romero played in it. Denzel Washington was in it. It's called something sold. I forget what. But anyway, it was about the staff sergeant that was the manager of the baseball team. It was an all-black Army baseball team. He got murdered, and they saw how the murder was solved and all. But this was a team that served in the Army, and their whole job in the Army was to play baseball.
Yeah. I didn't.
Because they would go around and, it was a recruiting tool.
Yeah, and it was like exhibitions kind of thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
They do that all the time. We'll take a break. We'll be back more on the other side. Ocala Talk, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. Says WOCA, the source.
Hey, folks, you've still got time to get in on the fabulous Super Value.